The story of child actors in Hollywood has always been complicated, but Sawyer Sweeten's life was uniquely marked by both immense fame and quiet obscurity. His childhood unfolded during the late 1990s and early 2000s, an era when families still gathered around living room televisions to share laughter together. Everybody Loves Raymond was a vital part of that ritual, a comforting slice-of-life comedy built around the Barron family, led by Ray Romano and Patricia Heaton. Its gentle humor felt like a familiar companion, and while the children playing the Barron twins were adorable additions, few fans realized that Sawyer and his real-life twin Sullivan were actually living their formative years on that set. Their entire childhood ran parallel to a fictional one, forever captured on film. Sawyer began portraying Jeffrey Barron before he even understood what acting meant, at just 16 months old. Bobbies in sitcoms are usually brought in for the cute factor, smiling, giggling, or offering funny reactions. But as children grow, their personalities shine, their lines increase, and they begin to absorb adult rhythms. From the time he could speak in full sentences, Sawyer was delivering lines, hearing action, and cut more often than most adults do early in their careers. While many children his age explored preschool and playgroups, Sawyer's world was shaped by scripts, cameras, and the structure of television production. Everyone involved in Everybody Loves Raymond recalls the warm atmosphere on set. Ray Romano was famously caring toward the children, and Patricia Heaton treated them with maternal kindness. Producers also tried to protect the kids from exhaustion with reasonable hours. Yet the entertainment industry, no matter how nurturing, can overwhelm a child. Applause from audiences, the thrill of autographs, and the confusion of strangers recognizing you at the grocery store create a surreal reality that is both exciting and unsettling. When Everybody Loves Raymond wrapped its 9th and final season in 2005, Sawyer and Sullivan were 10 years old. Fans often thought of them as younger, since the show had begun in 1996, and many viewers never tracked the timeline closely. For Sawyer, those years had been a formative journey. His older sister Madeline Sweeten also starred as Ally Barron, and together the three siblings built a rare bond, growing up inside a manufactured family while also being real siblings. On-screen, Sawyer and Sullivan's comedic innocence provided some of the show's most endearing moments, like appearing in matching pajamas or outwitting their father's bumbling discipline attempts. For viewers, the twins felt like familiar children in their own living rooms. The series was a cultural phenomenon, earning high ratings and numerous awards while bridging generational gaps with universal humor. Yet when it ended, Sawyer's life shifted dramatically. For Romano and Heaton, the show was a stepping stone in established careers. For the Sweeten children, it was all they had ever known. Overnight, the carefully structured routine of scripts and cameras vanished. Most child actors move quickly into auditions and new roles, but there was no clear path forward for the twins. Suddenly, they were simply children again, except with 9 years of Hollywood life behind them. Soon after, the Sweeten family left California, stepping away from Hollywood. This gave them relief from public recognition, but also removed the only professional world the children had known. Unlike other child stars chasing further fame, the Sweetens largely disappeared from the spotlight. Their parents hoped this would allow them a normal adolescence, chores, school, and friendships outside the industry. From a distance, this looked ideal, but for Sawyer, whose identity had been intertwined with acting, the abrupt change felt like stepping off a stage into darkness. Relatives later described Sawyer as quiet, thoughtful, shy, but not withdrawn to a worrying degree. After the show, he lived the life of a typical teenager, complete with part-time jobs and social circles. Yet subtle signs of inner struggle emerged over time. He wasn't rebellious, nor did he fall into substance abuse or legal trouble. Instead, he grew increasingly still, retreating socially. Occasionally, he shared moments of vulnerability, but mostly kept his sadness to himself. Like many young men facing depression, he hid his feelings to avoid burdening others or appearing weak. Family members assumed it was a passing teenage phase. One lesser-known story from a family friend describes Sawyer at 16, sitting quietly at a gathering, strumming a guitar. When asked how he was doing, he smiled softly and admitted, "I'm okay, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do next." He quickly changed the subject with a small joke about the show, hinting that its shadow still lingered. That uncertainty of who he was without acting seemed to weigh heavily. For child actors, the transition away from the spotlight often creates a void. Recognition dries up, applause stops, and suddenly they're just another face in a classroom. For some, it's a relief. For others, it feels like being set adrift without direction. By his late teens, Sawyer's quiet sadness deepened. On April 23, 2015, while staying at a relative's home in Texas, he died by suicide with a firearm. He left no note, no warning message, and no final call. His family, friends, and former colleagues were devastated. The entertainment community, upon hearing the news, expressed disbelief. Ray Romano remembered the bright boy he had watched grow up. Patricia Heaton mourned the gentle child she had loved like her own. Madeline Sweeten urged the public to take signs of depression seriously, no matter how subtle. Cast and crew gathered privately to honor him, many still stunned that someone so sweet and seemingly stable had been lost. Unlike many tragic child star stories, Sawyer's did not involve addiction, arrests, or public meltdowns. His life had been quiet, his struggles largely invisible. That absence of scandal makes his story all the more haunting. It underscores how depression often hides in silence, unrecognized until it is too late. Mental health advocates pointed out the lack of support child actors often face once shows end. Hollywood traditionally offered little in the way of guidance or counseling once young performers left the spotlight. Parents were left to navigate complexities they may not have understood, while children were expected to adapt without a safety net. Sawyer's death also reignited discussions around firearm safety. Mental health experts noted how the presence of a gun can turn a fleeting moment of despair into a fatal act. In Sawyer's case, an impulsive choice became irreversible because a weapon was within reach. The issue, while overshadowed by grief, highlighted how multiple factors, mental health, environment, access, can converge tragically. Even now, Sawyer's story resonates because it was so quiet. He didn't spiral publicly. He simply slipped away, unnoticed by a world that once knew him as the wide-eyed boy on TV. Fans discovering his fate years later often express shock and disbelief. "I had no idea he passed away. He was so young." Social media still fills with grief whenever someone revisits Everybody Loves Raymond and Googles the cast. Sawyer's short life also reflects the larger evolution of child stardom. In the 1990s and early 2000s, children found fame mostly on television. Today, kids become influencers on YouTube or TikTok, yet the questions remain the same. How do we protect them? How do we help them grow into adulthood with healthy identities, not ones tied only to fame? Experts suggest post-project counseling, transitional programs, and ongoing check-ins, but industry support remains inconsistent. When we talk about Sawyer's legacy, it may feel strange. He was only 19. Yet symbolically, his story urges us not to overlook the quiet ones. Withdrawn does not mean fine. Stillness may hide struggle. His life reminds us to ask, to listen, and to provide anchors for those who seem adrift. Beyond his personal tragedy, his story is part of the broader cautionary tale of child performers. Children in entertainment are still children first, needing protection, grounding, and opportunities to build self-worth beyond applause. Everybody Loves Raymond continues to air in syndication and streaming. New generations discover its humor, laughing at Romano's awkward charm, Heaton's sharp wit, and the adorable moments from Sawyer and his siblings. In that sense, the image of Sawyer, playful, funny, full of childhood innocence, remains alive. That contrast between the joyful boy on-screen and the pain he carried privately is what lingers most for audiences. It reminds us of the fragility hidden behind smiles, the need for compassion behind closed doors. For Sawyer's family, the loss remains immeasurable, yet they have channeled their grief into advocacy, supporting mental health organizations and urging people to seek help without shame. They do not mask their pain. Instead, they carry Sawyer's memory as a light for others, hoping to prevent another family from experiencing the same devastation. In the end, perhaps Sawyer's greatest gift was the joy he brought into millions of homes. The little boy who toddled across sets and delivered lines with innocent charm left behind memories that still make people smile. If those memories also inspire deeper compassion for the unseen struggles of others, then his legacy endures in the most meaningful way.